Hey, how's it going? Checking in for today. I said yesterday in my message after the PSA meeting that I'd had a piece of not so awesome news from a prospective client that I was looking to do some work with. And it kind of threw me a little bit. I made the mistake of checking my emails during the break at the PSA meeting. I wasn't quite sure. I think it was because I was expecting to hear something back from somebody else, and so I just couldn't resist it. But anyway, it meant that it sort of threw me a little bit. And it sort of made me reflect a little bit as well on how I've handled rejection this year. And believe me, there have been plenty of opportunities to get really good at this. And I believe that it's actually a skill that I've developed. You know, I talk a lot about resilience. I talk a lot about how you need to be able to take defeat and make a different meaning of it, and get back up again and get going again. And it's only really when you have real life opportunities to do that it really means anything. And there's a chasm for many of us between the theory and the actual practical application. But I've been really, you know, I would rather have not had all the rejections and setbacks that I've had this year. I can tell you that. But I do also believe that I've learned an incredible amount about the practical application of dealing with it and staying absolutely 100% focused on the goal. Because I can be perfectly honest, there's not been a single moment this year, despite everything that's happened and hasn't gone right, and the frustrations that I've had, and you know, and the little whispers and the little the little sort of teasing opportunities that I've had to get in front of more audiences and to do more speaking, to work with more clients, to work with more customers, and to share the messages that I've got that haven't come to anything, and that's been incredibly frustrating this year. But I've learned an awful lot about myself in the process, and as I said, there hasn't been a single moment that I've wavered, that I've thought to myself, you know, this isn't going to work. Let's do something different. I was thinking about it today, and that's just never been there in my mind. At the front, the back, the middle, deep down, it's like a foregone conclusion that this is going to happen. It's just taken me longer to get there than I had imagined. And I'm thinking, oh, right, there's got to be something I can draw out of this experience other than, well, you know, the big thing for me obviously is that I feel like I've grown tremendously this year, and doing these daily videos has been a really big part of it. So thank you to you, Daily Videos, but also all of you who have watched any of these videos before. So I was thinking, right, well, what do I need to do? And I've had a couple of, I think I've used the word interesting conversations quite a lot over the last 11 months. But that really is what happens. I have a conversation, I come away thinking, okay, right, this is fascinating. I've got some new direction here. I've got some new insights, some new ideas. And I've had a couple of emails and actual phone conversations today that fit right into that category. And it's the case of, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And this year I've evolved, I've adapted, I've changed, I've experimented. Something's not been working, I've done something different. The rejection I had yesterday was for that big piece of work I did a couple of days ago. I talked about the program selection document, and I look at that and think, you know, I spent a couple of hours putting that together and really thinking hard about the brief and what I would do and how I could do it. And it was, they're doing something internally instead of going with any of my options, which is fine. I've asked for some feedback on that, so I can understand, you know, how my offering compares with what an internal presenter would deliver for something similar. But I've also learned a lot about that process of creating a program selection document. So last night's disappointment was short-lived. I think the fact that I was then thrust straight back into the PSA meeting and I was able to sort of put it out of my mind. But then when I sat down to do the video at the end of the night in the car, it came back, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, that I was tired by that point. I was just a bit, I don't know, this disappointment. I could have just done with that engagement in December. But you know, what is, it is what it is. and I've learned that you have to move on very quick. You can't dwell on these things. You can ask for feedback, and you can go back, and you can negotiate. And you know, I could go back and say, well, look, was it a cost thing? Was it a budget thing? You know, maybe I could do it for cheaper, and maybe I could do something different. So there is, you know, there is some. There are some options there as well, but actually, ultimately, mentally, and I've done a video on this before as well. I just got to move on and focus my energy and my efforts and my time on moving forwards, rather than thinking, oh, why didn't that work? Why didn't I get that? So anyway, there we go. Resilience in practice. I feel like I've become incredibly resilient this year. I was already pretty resilient, pretty robust, but yeah, sales. Sales, working with organizations, corporates, decision makers. Yeah, it's been an interesting year, shall we say, but still a month and more to go. So who knows what is just around the corner. Yeah, the way I looked at this thing as well is a week ago today, I had no idea about any of this thing that didn't come through yesterday. You know, and now a week later, it's not happening. A week ago, it wasn't happening either. So I haven't lost anything. And I feel like I've gained something from those 2 hours that I spent preparing in the first place. So, hey, I'll move on. Focus on the things that I feel are going to be beneficial. Anyway, that's my check-in for the day. I'll be back again tomorrow. Oh, I've got my Boost Live event tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. Just hanging out with a bunch of my Boost online members in real life at one of the glorious Oxford colleges for the day, which is going to be good fun. So I'll check in at some point tomorrow. Bye for now.